It is a beautiful night here in Dubai and I have the CMF Phone 2 Pro with me. But you know what? I'm not going to insult you because chances are you've watched what, a couple of hundred videos on this thing? You know everything there is to know about it. So how about we do something a little different, you and I? Why don't we start by asking the question, what do you not get when you buy a phone that's just $280? Because there's good phones, there's great phones, and then there's obviously bad phones. But what is it that makes a phone good and great? So hear me out. I think a phone is good when it doesn't give you buyer's remorse. Basically, if I buy a phone and I go home and I think, oh man, if I'd only spent the extra $100 for this slightly better phone, I'd be happier still. I don't want that. Chances are you don't want that either. So if a phone doesn't do that to me, then chances are it's a pretty good phone. But what makes it great? Well, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, if a phone makes you forget completely about spending more money on a higher end phone, I mean, that's got to be a pretty great phone, right? If a $300 phone makes you think, I don't care about that $600 phone anymore, this is awesome, then there's a very decent chance this phone is awesome and therefore has achieved some sort of greatness. Basically something that punches well above its weight. Question is, where does the CMF Phone 2 Pro stand? Is it bad? Is it good? Or is it great? Well, for starters, let's whinge about a few things, right? You get only a mono speaker, a speaker at the bottom of the phone, and that's not great. Stereo speakers are important because media consumption is a very big part of our lives. And if you disagree with that, you're literally doing that right now. What are you talking about? If you use the speakers, then you're going to miss a stereo speaker. But the fact is, most phones, the stereo speakers aren't separated enough apart physically to give you that much stereo separation. Is it better than a mono speaker? Absolutely. Is it that much better? Only on some phones. You're probably better off with a tablet if you want real stereo separation. But hear me out. You spend $280, you save a bunch of money, you buy Bluetooth headphones or wired earphones, and you get better audio than any stereo speaker on a phone is ever going to give you. So, is the mono speaker a deal breaker? I don't think so. There ain't no YouTube video being mastered with that level of... Okay, that's wrong. There are a lot of cinematic YouTube videos. Most tech channels you're going to watch, they're pretty basic. You're not going to need that stereo speaker, not even for Netflix, because it just won't make that much of a difference. Do I wish it was there? Yes. Is it a deal breaker? In my opinion, no. But what about the 33-watt fast charging? It's not fast enough for the Android world. The Nothing Phone 3A has 50 watts and other brands even give you 80 to 100 watts even at the budget range. Isn't that a bummer? Well, let me just put you down here and talk about it for a second. Ooh, I like this lighting. It's kind of spooky. You know, under face lighting. I like that. Okay, hear me out. This phone, all said and done, is this slim and still has a 5100 milliampere battery, which lasts, I shit you not, for an entire day and a half, just like every other 5000 something milliampere battery. That's fantastic. If you use the extreme battery saver mode, it'll take you through a whole weekend. I'm not even exaggerating. This has great battery life. And at the end of that 1.5 days while you're having a shower, 33-watt fast charging will probably get you through another day. So yes, it's slower compared to other Android phones, but in real life usage, to me at least, it makes no difference. But more importantly, it's got a shit ton of battery despite being this slim. How cool is that? Very cool, I think. But then you might say, what about the processor? Oh, by the way, I'm here all the way. It's red. I have to wait for it to go green. I'll get to you. But let's talk about that processor. So, okay, you have the Snapdragon chipset on the Nothing Phone 3A, which is great. You've got the MediaTek Dimensity. They've got a bad rep. But here's the deal. From a benchmarks point of view, the Dimensity chipset actually only lags behind the chipset in the Nothing Phone 3A, the Qualcomm chipset, by 15% on average. Here's the kicker, right? Yes, it gives you a little less performance in burst workloads, but, it's green. But when it comes down to gaming, when it comes down to extended periods of usage, the CMF phone actually thermal manages better than the Nothing Phone 3A. So, there is a very real chance you'll get, for extended workloads, slightly better performance on the CMF Phone 2 Pro, which is kind of nuts, you have to admit. Also, you'll notice all the lights on the palm trees have gone out. Turns out, the boulevard is not always lit up. It turns off at midnight. There you go. Okay, look. let's just be honest about this. When I'm using the CMF Phone 2 Pro, it does stutter every once in a while. Not often, but it does stutter. Once you start using it, it just smoothens right out. It is butter after that. But that little bit makes a difference, right? People are going to notice that. And the Phone 3a does not. That is just butter all the time. Here's the thing. The Phone 2a also had this occasional stutter, and then when they pushed a firmware update, it got so much better that I forgot about it. I would like to believe that nothing would do that with the CMF Phone 2 Pro as well. I don't know that for sure, and I'm not going to promise something on their behalf. I don't care. It's not my company. But this is something people notice. Even though the performance is decent enough for the chipset and it's all optimized, this is something people notice. It's worth mentioning, right? But the big thing that people want to know about is the camera. And if you don't believe me, I did a whole video, I'm going to put that up here, where I went and asked people what they wanted to know about the Nothing Phone 3a, and overwhelmingly it was about the camera. Don't even get me started. Go check that video. It's a fun video. Then I did another video after that on the 3a. It was a lot of fun. But speaking about the camera, you might think the optical image stabilization or lack thereof in the CMF phone would be a deal breaker. Yes and no. During the daytime, not really. You still don't capture moving objects quickly, but that is not just a CMF thing, that's a Nothing thing. Nothing Phone 3a also is not that great at that. Nothing Phone 2a wasn't great at that as well. However, the thing that was really good about the 2a and the 3a was that images, after a little bit of processing, no doubt, came out pretty color accurate, and the CMF does the same thing. I still think you get slightly better results on the Nothing Phone 3a, but the CMF Phone 2 Pro takes over saturated images initially, takes about a second or two to process it, and after that you get something that is frankly really good. And I really dig this because color science is such a bugbear with me. A lot of phones at the mid-range claim to have great cameras, and then they do absolutely garbage color science and over contrasty photos. You know what I'm talking about, right? You guys have seen it. Well, Nothing does not seem to like that approach, and I for one am all for it. And you would think videos would be shaky with the lack of OIS, and yet. And this is the rear camera that I'm just walking with. Again, I'm not trying to stabilize it. In fact, I'm being a little obnoxious with it. Like normally I'd walk like this, right? I'd try and keep it stable, but I'm just giving it hell right now. Is it stable? Does the OIS really make a difference? Is the electronic image stabilization that's doing the trick anyway? You tell me. See? It wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't great. There was still that background judder. I get that. That's something I also see in $600 phones, to be fair. I mean, it's no worse than a $600 phone. The color science is better than like the OnePlus 13R. It's not that contrasty. I mean, the results are pretty good. Oh, and by the way, did I mention if you become a paying member of this channel, you get enrolled in giveaways automatically? I just get, you know what? Next video, I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm just saying, one of you will win a pair of earbuds or something. Become a member, subscribe. All right, okay, back to the video. Here's the thing. Here's the absolute kicker, right? The app for the camera gives you almost everything that the app for the camera in the Nothing Phone 3a does. Almost. You can't get rid of that slow shutter thing at night. Maybe that'll come with a firmware update, but you can use your filters, your LUTs, all of that stuff is still there. And while there might be a couple of things here and there missing, by and large, this is the Nothing experience. This back is all plastic, but the construction quality is every bit as good as their higher end phones. And I'm not going to talk about that ecosystem of, back plates and whatnot. I'm not even going to touch that. Instead, I'm going to flip it over and say, this feels great in the hand because it's so slim and still well built. Still has 5000 milliampere battery. The screen is the same 120 Hz 1080p panel, variable refresh rate, very good brightness in broad daylight. I mean, it's the same panel as the Nothing Phone 3a pretty much, and it looks so gosh darn good. And then when I use the screen, great haptics. That is not something you get to say in the $300 price point, and I just said it because it's true. Plus, you also get the Essential Key. You get the same AI functionality. I mean, it's in beta and it's a little bit hit or miss, but it is pretty nice. I've started using the Essential Key more. Okay, I should probably make a video on that. It's kind of cool. But my point is, so far they haven't differentiated in functionality in the CMF 2 Pro or the Nothing Phone 3a in any meaningful way. You get the Essential Key, you get the haptics, you get the Nothing UI, which is Nothing's biggest selling point. And that's a bit of a problem, see? Because here's the thing, if your whole ethos is, it's not about the specs, it's about the optimization and the experience, this is the epitome of optimization and experience over specification, in which case, Why on earth would I buy the Nothing Phone 3A? Well, to put it simply, because the 3A has the glyph interface, the 3A stutters a little less. You do get a smoother overall performance. That might change with firmware updates, but you do also get slightly better camera performance, slightly better shots at night time, little less judder in the camera, just a little bit more, right? The camera and the UI. These are two places where you get a little more, plus you get the glyph interface. Is that enough? Well, I think it's just enough. Like, they've done a smart job of nerfing the CMF Phone 2 Pro just enough that you might consider spending the extra $100. But on the other hand, they've made something that is almost too good. They got very close to the line there, and I think a couple of firmware updates and it'll pretty much be good enough that you don't really have to buy the Nothing Phone 3A. I think people will still buy the Nothing Phone 3A because it's easier and safer for a lot of people who can afford it to spend the extra $100, get the nicer phone, and then forget about it. It's going to be better, right? If not, it can't be worse. But for the person who is very budget conscious, for the smart money, I think the really smart answer, if you need to make your money go farther, is to get the CMF Phone 2 Pro and then use the money you saved to get a nice pair of wireless earbuds or headphones or wired earphones, whatever. And obviously you do that after subscribing and liking this video. Subscribing to this channel because we cover audio products just like that. You should check them out. We do pretty in-depth stuff. But my point is, that would be perhaps the smart money for the very, very budget conscious. And that is exactly the kind of person who this is aimed at. Has it achieved greatness? I don't think so. I think it's still quite handicapped to actually achieve greatness. So no, I don't think the CMF Phone 2 Pro has been made too good. I don't think it's overpowered, and I don't think it achieves greatness. But I do think it's a very good phone, and it came this close to being too good. But what do you think? Tell me in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay happy, stay peaceful, stay colorful. Namaste. Oh, it is a breezy night in Dubai, and I've got the Nothing Phone. No, the screen is the same 120 Hz AMOLED panel that goes up to 120. What?